Recording is on.
So we talked about user-centric design and what our user-centric design is all about and why it's important and what our role as product managers are when it comes to user-centric design. So those today, being Wednesday, we'll be looking at what we call Agile product management. I'll be sharing my screen. Please do confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So today we are going to be talking about agile product management. We've talked about agile in our previous classes. We've mentioned agile as a framework where we have Scrum, Kanban. So yeah. So we'll be looking at what agile product management is all about in this class. So I'm very sure that we already have an idea of what agile is. So yeah, today let's look at what agile product management it's all about. Okay, so what's agile product management? Agile product management is an approach to building products that helps teams to deliver value quickly and adapt to customer needs based on continuous feedback instead of delivering a whole product in one long sequence. So remember that we talked about agile being an approach, a framework where you release your product in bits rather than waiting for the entire life cycle for the entire development time to build a fully grown product. You rather break your product down into different features, smaller pieces, and launch to the market. Then you keep iterating with customers feedback, so it helps saves development time, wastage of resources. So now when we now talk about agile product management, so it's still a framework, it's still an approach to when you build your product so that your team deliver value quickly rather than waiting. One thing about agile that we should know is it helps you to deliver your value quickly. You don't have to wait till like your product is fully functional. Let me put it that way. Fully functional in the sense that it has all the nice to have features. So in this case, when it comes to agile, you break it down into smaller pieces so that you can launch to market as fast as possible, and you keep building based on the feedback, so there's continuous iteration of what you've built. So instead of delivering a whole product in one long sequence, the team works on short circles. I remember that when we talked about agile, I talked about Scrum, where we have sprints. When the Scrum Master breaks the task into smaller pieces. So this is applicable to Agile product management. So it is broken down into pieces. Work is broken down into pieces so that the team can work in short circles, often 1 to 4 weeks. Where I even talked about, yes, they are often called sprints. Where I said we have 2 week sprints, it can also be 1 week sprints. So yes, the tasks are broken down into circles and they are called sprints. So you can finish one sprint, continue another one in that order. So when you do that, your developer, you're able to release part of the product frequently. You are able to faster launch to the market. But while you launch to the market, you don't go and relax. You keep iterating. So you keep releasing updates frequently. So that's one thing about agile product management. And you improve it iteratively based on your customers' insights. So now you keep working based on your customers' insights. Based on the customer's insights, you keep iterating your product. So what are the key ideas here? The first one is break work into smaller pieces and deliver value incrementally. The work are being broken down into pieces rather than having a long list of features for your application or for your product. It is rather broken down into smaller pieces. then it helps you to keep improving, delivering your value incrementally, because you keep uh dropping updates frequently due to your customers feedback. So it helps you to focus on customers feedback, learning and adaptability. So you're able to focus on your customers feedback because you've released your first version to the market. Customers, you watch how customers interact with it, you get their reviews, you work on it, so you learn and you also adapt. That's one thing about Agile framework, you also adapt. So then another one is respond to changes rather than strictly following a fixed plan. So like I said, if you want to work in an agile environment, you have to have these adaptability skills. You don't have to be rigid. You have to be flexible because requirements will keep changing. So you have to quickly adapt to all of this. You cannot work based on a rule or a commandment that, oh, this is how things should work. So you keep following that order. No, it doesn't work like that when it comes to agile. When it comes to agile, things are meant to change. So there's no fixed plan that, oh, this is how we are going to carry this out, this is how we are going to carry that out. No, it doesn't work like that. Requirements changes, customers needs changes, so you also have to change with them. Because mind you, you are building using your UCD, that's the user centric design. So in as much as you are building for the user and you are using the UCD approach, you have to be flexible. So there is no fixed plan when it comes to agile product management. In agile environment, every stakeholders are flexible. They have this adaptability skill because a lot of things will change, and you also have to be open-minded to all of these changes. You have to be open-minded to it. Like, oh no, okay, you've told your developers to work on those particular features, this is how the system should behave, and all of a sudden, due to customer feedback, the requirement changes, and you want to no, and you want to suit your customers need. Then the developer is like, ah, no, I've put so much work in this, I can't. No, 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 it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. You have to change. I cannot even remember how many times I've changed requirement. You have to change. And you also, like, that's why I said you should build very good rapport and relationship with your development team. Because when you build good rapport and development with your development team, all of this would not be a problem when requirement changes. They understand and they'll proceed to work on it. So when requirement changes, one thing you should do as product managers and aspiring product manager is to communicate on time. Timely communication is very, very, very important. Communicate when requirement change. When you communicate, it saves them waste of development time, because they might end up working on you gave them requirement A, now the requirement has changed to B. You have to quickly communicate with them so that they stop working on requirement A and switch to requirement B. So communication is very, very important and key when it comes to agile product management. So always ensure that uh you you have that adaptability skills. You are quickly to learn. Yes, you learn from your customers. You use your customers as case study. Your users, they are your case study. You build based on what they want, because normally when you start building the product, you might have run your user research and, okay, this is what you feel the customer needs, or based on facts, based on the research that you have made, this is what they need. Now requirement has changed, this is another year, things have changed. Now customer needs, people have left that particular procedure or that particular pattern, and they are using a new pattern now. So you also have to adjust to this. You can't say, but I conducted user research before I started building this product now, and this is what they say. So how come it's changing? You have to work on their feedback because things change. You are not in one place. At that point when you made your user research, probably there was no, let me say, just imagine you trying to build a product and you've not launched. That was before the invention of AI. Now that we have AI all around, now most products even have AI in them. So now your customers are even demanding for it, and you're like, no, when I did my user research, there was nothing like that. No, you have to adapt. You learn from your customers. The customers are also your case study. They are where you also get your insight from. So I trade for improvement. So you should always keep this in mind as product managers. So why agile product management? Traditional approaches. Remember we talked about the waterfall, and I said except for traditional would I call it archaic or old organizations that are still using the waterfall, many people have moved to agile. So we have the likes of Scrum, Kanban. So now traditional approaches like waterfall plans everything upfront and make changes later are difficult. So one thing that waterfall does is all the plans, you plan everything from inception, from your ideation stage to your launch to your post launch. So you already plan everything, you have all of your requirements, your development, you assign every task to them, and they build a fully completed product and launch to the market. Now, what's the downside to that when they build a fully completed product and launch to the market? It will be very difficult to change. Imagine now you build a fintech application to send money. You build a fintech application to send money. And as at when you conducted your user research and started building, was not the era. Okay, let's do the case study now. Your serviceable obtainable market is Nigeria market. Now, as at when you conducted your user research, there was nothing like what's it called? There was nothing like BVN, NI. No, there was NIN before now, sha. There was nothing like BVN then. Now, you take so much time because you are using the waterfall approach. You take a lot of time to fully complete your product and launch to the market. After launching to the market now, you now due to your KYC compliance is now saying okay for customers KYC to be completely done, they need BVN. Now it will be very difficult for you now to go back and start imputing that BVN, because you have to start from at that point when customer is signing up. So you have to now iterate it and ensures that it works throughout the ecosystem of that product. Another example will be, okay, let's say what's trending now that was not sometimes back. Maybe you still build a fintech application to send money, and as at when you built the application, when you conducted your user research, there was nothing like biometrics where customers can do their face use their face what's it called if their face ID to unlock the application rather than inputting their password, or yes, for authentication as well, just like we have in the likes of our fintech apps now. So now, because customers and most applications are requesting for that, do that, and your applications do not have that, it cannot stand the test of time. Customers would rather go to competitors that have all of those features. So now it will now be difficult for you to make changes. Maybe when you have built, okay, especially when your developers have hard coded on the back end that okay, this is how the sign up should be, this is what you should only use to log in. Now they will have to start changing the code, rewriting the code, do a code refactoring. It's a whole lot for them. Like it's really a whole lot for them, because they waited till that product was completed and launched to the market. So if you are changing anything at all, it will really affect your application. It will affect the entire code, because you have to change it, you have to change it here, you have to change it there. It's not like you do not have it when you are iterating, when you are using the agile product management, but it's minimal, it's easier. I remember my if I tell my engineers that, oh, that it's a new requirement, oh, this is what we have done, but looking at the market trend now, this is what is trending, so we need to move on to this. We need to do a little bit of adjustment. It's not easy for them to quickly go there because they tell you, oh, they will have to change the code, they will have to also change it here, they will change it there. It's still easy because that product have not, like, we've not completed everything because we still have backlogs. So it's really easier for them to quickly come in, input that, then we ship out again, customers test the application. Compared to when we now wait till we build everything before we start getting customers feedback. So it's only traditional or old organization that use the waterfall approach. So agile helps you to experiment while you are still building. It helps you to learn from real users. Now you are not just using your QA internally to test. Now you are using your own real users to test your applications. And as they are testing it, they are giving you feedback, they are adjusting it as they grow with the product. You are adjusting it as they grow with the product because you are using them. They are the users of the product. You are not the user. You allow the users to give you their feedback. They are testing it real time, getting back to you. This is what I think you should do. This is what I think you should have. And as they are doing this, you are adjusting it and your product is growing. That's why agile product management is important and are advisable to use when you are managing any product. It's advisable that you use the agile product management style or approach because it helps you to learn from your own real users so that you do not waste development time building what the market no longer needs, because your real users cannot even test. Your real users cannot test until your product is live. It doesn't really work that way. Even if you don't want them to test on production. Now in development, we have what we call the sandbox environment. How many of us have heard about sandbox environment? Any idea? No one? Okay. All right. So when we talk about the sandbox environment, consider it as a test environment. That's the test environment. Now we have sandbox environment and we have the production environment. Sandbox is your test environment. It's where you test your applications. It's like the production environment, but you are not testing with real data. Let me put it that way. Especially if it is a financial application, you're not testing with real money. But for every behavior that you are going to get on your production environment, you get it on your sandbox environment. There's even depending on organizations, there's what we call, you can call your sandbox environment test environment, you can call it the staging environment as well. So there is even development environment. That's where the developers test their home. That's where they run all of their testings before they now deploy to the test environment. The test environment is now meant for people to test in-house or externals. So in-house or externals is meant for you to now test. So it is only when you test on your sandbox environment, ensure that everything is fine. That's when deployments can be done to the production. The codes can now be moved to the production environment and you can now start doing all of these things in the real environment. When it's a fintech app, that's when you now start testing with real money. But all those ones you are seeing on the sandbox environment are, should I call it, computer or virtual money. They are not real money. They are not real money. They are not real data. But when you go to the production environment, that's when you'll be able to test with real data. So it's often advisable that, well, depending on organization, that you have a sandbox environment. In fact, I think almost every technology company have a sandbox environment where you test out all of those things. Whatever behavior it is you get on your test environment, which is the sandbox environment, is what you will definitely get on your production. So if you are not able to catch a bug on your sandbox, that bug will move to prod. So it's always advisable, especially in agile environments like this. So even if you don't want to give your real users your production environment, give them the sandbox, let them test and get back to you. So that's the approach that most organizations use. You give them the sandbox environment, they get back to you, you create a group for them, you communicate. So you can use Slack, you can use, depending on your organization. So they send feedback, they share you, I'm trying to log in, this is what I get. You look at it, okay. Some things are not bug. You as a product manager, you know that some things are not bug. That's the behavior. But when your real user tests, they test from a different perspective. And you look at and be like, oh, okay. Well, this is not a bug. But okay, I think I understand. Then you weigh your options and okay, let's go for this because they are the real users. So that's why it's very important as product managers to understand your product very well. QA will raise bugs that are not bugs. They will raise issues that are not bugs. But you as a product manager, you know that this is not a bug. You just smile. If there is need for you to have a call with that QA to tell him or her that, oh, this is not a bug, this is how the system should behave. And they will, QAs are very funny. They will always give you their own recommendation. Oh no, I think it shouldn't work that way. This, but you are the CEO of your product. You understand why you wanted that particular feature to behave like that. So that's why it's very important and good that you have a syncing section with your QA team. You have a syncing section. So one thing QA does is they will raise bugs. Depending, they will raise bug assigned to the product manager, no, not product manager now, assigned to the project manager, we in turn to assign to the engineers, depending on what the structure of the organization is like. But what I always ensure to do is whatever bug you are raising as QA, please tag me so that you do not proceed to tell my developers to work on A when I have told them to work on this. Probably what you raise is not an issue, but you are looking at it as an issue. That happens most times. So it's very important that you are in the loop of everything. Like, you are just everywhere. It's not easy, but you just have to be. You are like in everywhere. So like, even if I don't have time, like I think I usually uh allocate some time to look at the board where key areas there are issues, to look at everything. Okay, are these ones really issues? Anyone that is not issues, I'll remove, put to backlogs, or even remove it entirely from the sprint. So it's very important that you create that time. You carry them along, let them understand these things are not bug. This is how the system should behave. So that syncing session with your department is very, very, very necessary, especially in an agile product management approach. It's very important that you sync with them so that they do not change. Oftentimes, like I've had scenarios where you tell developers to do this. At the end of the day, you not know that QA has gone behind you to raise a bug, not even a bug, raise an issue. It normally happens around validation. Most fields, when you're working on a tech app now, you there are fields like name, so there are validations. Simply means, okay, field for name accept only alphabet, meaning if the user inputs characters, do not accept. If the user inputs numbers, do not accept. For postcode, accept only numbers. Depending on your region that you are supporting, that's depending on your sum, that's serviceable obtainable market. So it's very important that you are in the loop of this. I've heard scenarios where K will say, postcode postcode should only accept numbers. Like, who told you postcode should only accept numbers? Especially when you are not even building for you are building for a location that uses both alphabets and numbers. So in such case, there will be an issue. So that's why you should always be in loop of all of these things. So depending on where your SOM is, know what the validation is also important, and that's why in the PRD, I think we should also be having how to write PRDs, and so in the course outline, I'll check though, but yeah, I think it should also be part of it. So, but it is very important. That's why it should be in your acceptance criteria that okay, for name field, accept only alphabets, accept this depending on what you want. When you enter number, that is why when you enter, for instance now, when you want to enter email, when you're trying to register on an app, they'll tell you that only valid email is accepted. If you enter something that is not valid, it will not accept it. That's because there is already a validation in place. Okay, this field I want to make it mandatory, this one I want to make it optional. All of these are things that you would have included in your requirements that you are sending to your engineers. Oh, make this one mandatory, oh, make this one required, oh, make this, like that validation needs to be in place. QA can recommend, yes, recommendations are welcome. QA can recommend, oh, I think for password, I think for security purposes, the password should not be lesser than 8. It should not be. You look at it. You look at it. If it is something worth looking at, okay, you want to accept or you want to decline the recommendation, you can, because you are the CEO of that product. So it's very, very important that you align on all of these things. So agile product management, it's very important because it's also to adjust, use your user as learners, as examples to grow your product as product managers. So principles behind agile manifesto. We have something that we call agile manifesto. Agile manifesto came about in 2001. In 2001, we have group of developers, 17 of them. They had a meeting in what's the name of that place? They had a meeting, group of developers, 17 of them. They had a meeting on how they can better make their work easy. So after all deliberations, because as at then what was common was okay, changes are very difficult due to using the waterfall approach. Okay, how can they make their work more easy? How can they make it also like for customers to be satisfied? So that was the major reason why they had that meeting that year. That was in 2001. So after the meeting, they came up with an agile manifesto. So they wanted an agile environment in the likes of Kanban, the likes of Scrum. So they now came up with, okay, we are going to be using the agile approach, but let there be a manifesto. So their manifesto comprises of 12 items. And the first one is customer satisfaction is the highest priority. That's the first agile manifesto. Always note that customer satisfaction is highest priority. You are not concerned about yourself. You are not objective that, oh no, this is what I want, or subjective to yourself that I know because I like this. No, you are looking at your customers. So their satisfaction as product manager, as product managers using the agile approach, should be customers satisfaction. It should be your highest priority, not the satisfaction of your CEO, not the satisfaction of your boss, not the satisfaction of your developers, not the satisfaction of your QA team. It should always be the satisfaction of your customers. And that's why, like I said, as product managers, you are the CEO of your product. Your CEO, your boss might not be a product manager, doesn't really know what it entails. So your boss can say, oh, this is how I want it, but your duty as a product manager is to make him or her understand that no, this is how it should go, this is how you should be, and give valid reasons to support this. So the second item on the manifesto says welcoming changing requirements. Very, very important. Welcoming changing in requirement. Mind you, people that brought up these manifestos are developers, software developers. So they're saying welcoming changing requirements. Like, okay, they will not be too rigid when the product manager comes that requirement have changed, oh hey, this is all you want to do again. No, they have to welcome it. Know that your job as a developer is to satisfy customers need. So in as much as your priority, your highest priority is your customer, so if requirements change, then as developer, as product managers, as stakeholders involved, you will welcome it. So that's the second item on their manifesto. You will welcome it because you are bidding for the customer. The third one says delivering work frequently. Delivering work frequently. Releasing, like you have to keep delivering your work frequently. Meaning you release this today, tomorrow if they come back to you that come and release. See, let me make an example. In a day, I can have like, depending though, depending on the changes, I can have like five, three builds, mobile application builds. You keep going to the, if I need any change, I keep going to developers. Oh, please, I need another application, I need another version. I need another version to be released as soon as possible. They should never be tired because it is an agile environment. So they have to deliver work frequently. You release one in the morning, in the afternoon requirement have changes, there is a slight bug, there is this that needs to be corrected, release another one. Then I get the notification that a new app is available again. I pick it up, start testing, I discover another one, I reach out again, please give me another build, give me this build, give me that build. So that is one of the manifestos of an agile environment. You deliver work frequently. You can keep releasing your app, keep releasing to Play Store, to App Store, depending. Like as customers needs increases or changes, you also have to be working along that. So you should not be tired, you should not be tired of giving me apps. Don't be tired of giving me, when I come to you I don't want to hear no, you have to keep giving me, you have to keep giving me because requirements are changing. So I'll get as many as possible in as much as we are working towards customer satisfaction, which is our highest priority. Another one is business and tech to work together frequently throughout. So now I mentioned this, I think in our first class, that you have to collaborate, like you have to work cross-functional. So now remember that these manifestos are given by developers. They're not saying that business and tech should work together frequently throughout. There should not be any point in time where the tech team is left out in the business aspect of the product. They need to be carried along. And I think I mentioned this yesterday, is that it is only when you understand who you are building for, the idea behind it, that is when you can write your code to suit that particular thing. So you need to work with the tech team. You guys should work together. Like there should be no time when they are not carried along. They have to be in business meeting. They have to also know the business side of things, not just like writing the code. See, my engineers does not even like to be looking at the UI. That's for the back end because all they do is write the code, ensure that the APIs are working. They don't want to see what is going on the what the UI looks like. But yes, I'll force them to see what the UI looks like because I will demo it to them. we would have sections where we look at it. Okay, look at the UI, look at this, look at this, look at this, this is how it works. So look at the code that you have written, look at how the UI works, see this, see that. Our front end team are usually very, they are conversant because that's their own work, they're the one that designs the UI. So those ones, that's their job. But you see back end, most times they don't want to really look at the UI. When you tell them anything, they want you to refer it to the front end team. The front end team will check endpoints, give it to them. Oh, this is it. But you see, for in an agile environment, for everyone to work together, the business team, technical team, everybody, as long as you are a stakeholder in that product, you have to work together. BE, that's backend, must know what FE is doing front end. FE must have an idea of what backend is doing. Now both BE and FE must have the business idea of why we are building that product and what the operational aspect looks like. They must have an idea. It is only when they have an idea they can. When you are telling them, it doesn't look like you are telling them jargons. When you are telling them that, oh, this is what I feel, they will even suggest and be like, they will make reference to apps that they have also used. Why? Because you have put them in that empathy, what's it called, position, putting themselves in the shoes of the users. Now they will not tell you, they have an app that they have used though. This is how the this particular feature work on the app. Oh, they think we should do it like this. Then you all reason together. There's usually a brainstorming section. There's usually a brainstorming section. So, but when they don't understand what you're even building, you're just telling them to write code. Hey, I need this, I need that. They don't even know what you're building. They will build what you ask them to build now. They'll just be writing their own code, designing their UI. But when they understand that, this is it though, they also chip in their ideas that, oh, okay, see what they've used. They can also go and look at competitors that when they are implementing, use their implementation approach. Is one thing for them to work on what you ask them to work. It's another thing for you to also understand what the implementation behind it is. How did you guys implement it? I know I don't know how to write code though, but at least after implementing, please, how do you implement this thing? Like, how does it behave back end wise, code wise? How does it behave? Did you guys hard code it? I try as much as possible to ensure that they do not, like, if like the team do not hard code things, because when you hard code things, it's not really too ideal. When you hard code things, it's very difficult to change. But when you don't hard code, you can easily go in and change. But when you hard code it, like you are defaulting into that particular thing. So I need to understand the implementation. Why I'm asking for the implementation is for me to know. Let me have an idea. I hope you guys did not go and hard code this thing. That's just the idea. I hope you guys did not do abracadabra for me. She just want to see that it's working. And no problem now. Let's do it for her so that it will just show that it's working. No, it should go beyond it is working. It should go beyond it is working. You should be able to understand the business concepts behind it. So the fifth one says people driven development with maximum support for teams. So it should be people driven development and you should support your team. Work in an agile environment, the manifesto says it should be people driven. No, work. Care about the people you work with. Support your team. Yes, you know that, oh, you are not in the QA department, and what's now your home? Let the QA go and test now. No, in an agile environment it doesn't work like that. You support each other, because this thing is front end, back end is not interested, everybody has to be interested. We have to support ourselves. When it comes to an agile method, everybody is a stakeholder. So whatever happens to the head has happened to the hand, has happened to the stomach, has happened to every part of the body. That's how it should be. It should be people driven. because you cannot do all of these alone. So it should be people driven. Then the sixth one says preference for face-to-face communication. So yes, for agile too, agile encourage face-to-face communication. However, you know that the world that we are now, we now have more of hybrid work mode and hybrid and remote, fully remote. So yeah, agile supports face-to-face communication, but in place of face-to-face, because I said this thing was done in 2001, this is 2025. That's to tell you that the world is evolving. After the what's it called, the COVID-19 era, remote work in Nigeria started, was promoted, and many organizations went from remote. We have hybrid. So now this one was done in 2021, but things changes. Now this face to face, you don't even, for me, you don't need to necessarily see your engineers or stakeholders that you are working face to face, because I don't even see them face to face most times. But because you have a common goal, we can have, I can't even count how many meetings we have and thinking we have in a day. So this face to face communication can be replaced with meetings like this. Just like we are on this call, we're not seeing ourselves face to face, but yeah, we are also able to learn and gain one or two things. So yes, it's just trying to tell us that communication is very important, because you cannot work with someone when you haven't communicated at every phase. Like that communication is very important and paramount. So another one says working software is the primary measure of success. Yeah, I know I've said this couple of times. So where I got this was from the Agile Manifesto, saying that working software over documentation. Our priority is the working software. So if you disagree with backend, disagree with front end, disagree with business team, QA, amidst all of this, let's know that our aim is a working software. So everybody should work towards that one goal, which is a working software. Working software is the priority. So we need to be calm and work towards the primary measure of success. Number eight says sustainable development with team working at a constant pace throughout. So yeah, team development should be sustainable. The pace should be, there should be a constant pace. Okay, we are doing this, and that's why we have the sprints. Now we are going to work on these every 2 weeks. Is a constant pace. Okay, for 2 weeks we are going to take on this feature. For 4 weeks we're going to take on this feature. So the team works on a constant pace throughout. If you know you are doing a 2 week sprint, you do a 2 week sprint all through. If you are doing a 3 weeks or 4 week sprint, you do a 4 week sprint all through. And that one is attention to details, technical excellence, and good design. So yes, attention to details is very, very important in an agile environment. Attention to detail, to every details, because it is very important, so that you do not waste development time, so that your program manager does not say build A, you go and build Z. So that very little attention can cause a lot if you fail to take into what's it called, into recognition that particular details. It can cost a lot. So it helps technical excellence and a good design. Yes, so you have a good customer centric design as well to help in the process. Then simplicity is essential in agile. We talked about simplicity yesterday as well. Simplicity is very, very important. Don't complicate things, and that was why we talked about it yesterday, saying that okay, why do some people even leave their application, and maybe checkout is complicated, this and that. Simplify your product. Do not make it overly complicated for users. So in an agile environment, simplicity is the key. Keep it simple. Keep it simple so that people understand. So it's very important that we keep our product simple. Now, self-organizing team. Yes. Now, our teams are to be self-organized. And how can you achieve this? You can achieve this when you collaborate well with them. So even when you are not around, they organize themselves. You do not have to force anybody to do what they need to do. You don't have to force. They already know what. Most times they'll be like, my engineers will be like, alpha, we're not working on anything. They know what to work on. So even when they are done working and maybe you've not given them the go ahead to pick up another task, they will come and ask you. So they need to be organized. When you are working on agile environment, it encourages self organization. Then team reflects at regular intervals on what could be done better. Yes, team should reflect on at regular intervals, and that's why we have a sprint review. From sprint planning to sprint review to sprint retrospective. Now, when you're having your review, you are reflecting depending on is it after every 1 week, depending on the time frame for your sprint. You are there reflecting on regular basis that okay, how can we do this better? This is what we have done so far. How can we iterate this improvement to be better? Okay, this side, okay, make this like this. The navigation bar should be here. Oh, so at regular intervals for agile environments, you don't have to wait for them to finish the entire product. Then you now engage in a long call or a long meeting to start testing the features and functionalities one after the other. No, you have to do it at regular intervals. Do it at regular intervals. So those are the principles behind the Agile Manifesto. So these are the core principles because as time goes on, people iterate this, people simplify this. So let's note that agile is a root in value from Agile Manifesto created in 2001, such as collaboration over rigid processes. So this is more of simplifying the 12 manifestos. Collaboration over rigid process, delivering working products pieces frequently, embracing change for customers' benefit, iterating based on customers' feedback rather than fixed documentation cycles. So, in short, agile means you're learning fast, you are launching early, and you are improving continuously. I repeat, agile means simply means that you are learning fast, you are launching early, and you are improving continuously. Any question? Do we understand so far?
Yes, ma.
Okay.
Yes,
I
ma.
don't know if you have any question regarding the Agile Manifesto. Any from anyone?
None from my end, ma.
Okay. Other persons?
No, ma.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. So we go to the core principles of Agile in product management. There are core principles of Agile. So Agile is rooted in value. That is one thing we should know. That Agile is rooted in values. From Agile Manifesto. Okay. Sorry, I've done this. Okay, so now let's look at That's still there. A minute, please. Okay, so we'll move on. Apologies. We'll move on to how Agile product management works. So yeah, you can look at these as simply like something like you call the life cycle of Agile product management. You can look at it as yes, you can look at it as the life cycle of Agile product management. So the first one here, it's the vision and backlog. Now, product managers start for any product at all. You start with a vision or an idea. So vision first is when you have a vision. That's when you can have an idea for it. Then you create a product backlog. I've mentioned what product backlog is. It's often used in an agile methodology, especially Scrum. So it's a prioritized list of features, user stories, and improvement. So you have 100 features that you want to carry out. So you prioritize your features in the order of importance. Then you use user stories to prioritize this and also the improvements. User stories are uh, what prompts the user to want to use a product or use a particular feature, like acting as a user. So first thing first, the vision and the product backlogs. So as product owners, one of the first life cycle is the vision. They want to have a clear idea of okay how to tackle this. Then you put it in your product backlogs. Then we have the planning and sprints. So planning and sprints, like I said in Scrum, that we have the sprint planning, we have the sprint review, the sprint retrospective. So it means that your work are broken down into short time boxes. E.g., you can have 1 to 4 week sprints. Like I said, 2 weeks. Not sure I've done 4 weeks before. It's usually 1 week, 2 week sprints. So this is you breaking it down rather than using 6 months. In your product roadmap, you have like you've done a 1 year product roadmap. But okay, now you want to break it down into what you want your engineers, what features after you've prioritized your product backlogs. You want to break it down into sprint. So you break it down that okay, in the first 2 weeks, this is what feature we are working on. In the third week, we are doing this from week 3 to 4, week 4 to 6, in that order. So you break it down when you are starting your sprint one. Sprint one will last you 4 weeks. That's from on the first to this time. At the end of 4 weeks, you end that sprint, you carry over some things that you've not completed to the new sprint. You start another week, another one, sprint 2, week 1. You not start with week 5, you start with week 1 again. So in that order until you keep iterating and complete all your product backlogs. So each of the sprints focuses on delivering a small usable part of the product. Yes. So each of that sprints will tell you that okay, for this particular sprint now, our goal is to complete the dashboard. So if your goal is to complete the dashboard, then you break it down. What are the items needed on the dashboard? What are the items needed on the dashboard? Okay, on the dashboard, depending on the kind of application you are building, you want to see your send money option. That's for building a fintech app to send money. You want to see your transaction history. So everything that you needed on the dashboard, or you want it to be completed within that 4 week. So you now start breaking it down into feature one, send money. Put your user story. As a user, I want to send money so that I want to be able to access the send money platform so that our future, so that I can be able to send money to my loved ones. Then you put all of your criterias, how many days, hours that is going to take the developers to complete. All of that is going to be done by the scrum master though. Then so once you focus on those small usable part of the product after your sprints, that's your sprints retrospective, your engineers come together, you are also on the call, they demo what they've done so far. If there's need for improvement, they improve. If there's need for iteration, they make iteration. Then you proceed to the next one. Another one is delivery and feedback. At the end of each sprint, the team deliver a working increment and collect feedback from users or stakeholder. So now you've completed your sprint, you ship out your product, you need to collect feedback from stakeholders and your customers. So you keep working based on this feedback that you have gotten. Now, when we mean you deliver a working increment, you collect feedback from users or stakeholders. The stakeholders can be your QA tester testing in-house for you, then your product user, that's the external parties now. So at the end of each sprint, the team will deliver a working increment that okay, because the QA team is also involved in the sprint. So as the engineers are working on it, they are also testing, they are also giving their own feedback. So you are working based on this feedback that oh, you worked on the dashboard, the transaction history is not showing the recipient's name. QA has raised it. When you're having your sprint review, you can say, oh, QA raised this at so time, that this particular work that you feel is completed is not completed. Okay, let the recipient's details be shown. You had it based on the feedback we got from the stakeholder. And if it's for users too, oh, customers complain about this, okay, and after everything, we feel oh, for on the transaction history, customers should be able to see the sender's name. You put that as well. Then iteration. Iteration is feedback feeds from into the backlog. So you get your feedback and put it back into your products backlogs that you have created. So all those feedback you are getting, you put it to products backlogs. Then you now prioritize again. Oh, this is, we want the sender name to show, we want the recipient's name to show. Which of them do we want to prioritize in our next sprint? So you work on that. Then the team plans the next sprint with lessons learned, adjusting priorities as needed. Yeah, I just explained that. So at every sprint retrospective, you celebrate that oh, you've completed this sprint, then you start another sprint. with the sprint planning, where you now learn, oh, from this last sprint, this is what we learned. Oh, we were able to complete it in 3 weeks, we were able to complete it in 4 weeks. Okay, this was what there was a blocker, this was what we eat. So you get all of those insights. You're able to learn, and you're able to adjust and prioritize in your next sprint, like coming back better in your next sprint. So that's about the product agile product management life cycle. So now, what do product manager do in an agile environment? One, we define problems, not just features. So as product managers, if you find yourself working in an agile environment using the agile product management approach, one thing you should do is to define your problem and not just the features. That is, define the product problems. What problems are customer facing, just like we did yesterday? Now, you are not just saying that, okay, do this feature. Why are we even doing this feature? Is to tackle this problem. So, as product managers in an agile environment, you are expected to define the problem. Always define the problem. Let there be a problem statement. So that was what we did yesterday. You have a problem statement, then you have a solution, the future that will create that solution, that will solve that problem as product managers. Then you identify user and business problems that needs to be solved and ensure that the team understands their importance. Now, when you have identified the problem, you also identify the user and the business problem. Not just the user problem now, but the business problems that needs to be solved. Then you also ensure that your teams understand why this thing should be solved. Like I said, you are the CEO of your product. Carry your developers, your engineering team generally along. Let them know why this problem needs to be solved. If they do not know why it needs to be solved, they might end up not solving it. So you need to let them know. If you are working in an agile environment as a product manager, you need to let your engineering team or your other stakeholders know the severity of whatever problem you want them to solve and why it is necessary, why it is important for them to solve that problem. When they don't know the critical or the importance of them solving the problem, they might end up ignoring, focusing on other things, and coming back to it later. So it's always important. So when you use tools like Jira has task prioritization feature. So if a task is the highest is critical, if a task is critical, there's a label that says critical. So when your developers are seeing it on the Jira board, they know, oh, this task is critical. Then I think after critical, there is I. Yes, there is I. Showing I. That means that task is I. It's of high priority, but it's not a critical one. There's difference between being critical and being of high priority. Then there's medium priority. Then there is low priority. Low priority can say, okay, after we fix critical first, we go to high, we go to medium, then we go to low, in that order. So it's important to let them know the severity of the problem they are fixing and why they should fix it. Give them reasons. This thing is happening like this. We should fix this because people are abandoning the app. We should fix this because people are not able to send money. We should fix this because people are not able to proceed with KYC. We should fix this because we are losing customers. So you need to allow them to know. Let them know the severity or the importance of what they are working on. So another one is Prioritize what delivers most value. For instance, explain to engineers why improving the search feature is more important than building an export button at a given time. Now, your task or your job or your role as a product manager in an agile environment is to ensure priority. Nobody will prioritize tasks for you. You as a product manager, you prioritize your tasks, and that's why I said it in one of our classes that product managers can easily transition or fit into the cap or the shoes of a project manager because priority is one of the things that they do. Because you manage your time, you prioritize, so it's easier for you. You can do both at the same time compared to a project manager trying to transition into a product manager. A product manager will have to go and learn everything that has to do with products because what he does is project. But you as a product manager, you are also having the skills of a project manager. Now you are prioritizing what needs to be delivered. You are doing the product backlogs, so it's easier for you to fit in into this art. So always prioritize what delivers the most value. So see the example I gave here. You actually have to explain to your engineers. For instance, now you have a you have a fintech app, financial one for sending money. Now on the dashboard, you want when customers search for a transaction, whether using their transaction reference or the name of their receiver, it's not bringing accurate data. Like the particular filter field that you're using to search that search criteria is not bringing out that exactly. Now you need to communicate to your engineering team that, oh guys, I need you to improve on this such that when my users filter using Elizabeth as their recipient, the system should be able to spool all transaction from that period, depending on my search criteria for the days, should be able to spool all Elizabeth transactions rather than mixing it up with better transaction. So there's somebody that is Elizabeth, there is another that is Elizabeth, and the system is pulling both their transactions when I filter for Elizabeth. So I need my engineering team. No, let's not even use Elizabeth. Let's use because if you search for Elizabeth and there's Elizabeth, it will still bring Elizabeth because it will think you did not complete your words. Okay, let's say Elizabeth and Elizabeth, Z and E, Abby A and E. So instead of bringing Elizabeth, it's bringing both Elizabeth and Elizabeth. So now you want your engineering team to improve on this such that when I search for Elizabeth, it brings everything peculiar to just Elizabeth without mixing it up with Elizabeth transactions. Now you want them to do that. And you also have another feature whereby you want to have an export button. That's you want to be able to export account details of beneficiary from your phone such that when you want to send money you don't have to start racking your head putting the name of the beneficiary, the account details. So you want to export it from your phone contacts. Now you need to explain to them, you need to prioritize it, that okay, according to priority, which one is of more priority. We have two features now, set feature and export feature. Obviously set feature is of more priority. Do you agree with me that the search feature it's high priority compared to export feature? Let me know if you agree with me and tell me why you think it's more important. Anyone? Are you with me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I think the search feature is more important because it is a commonly used feature on fintech apps compared to exports. So, like users can do without the export feature, but they can't do without the search feature.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Adira Mullah. Exactly. Users can do without the export feature. The export feature it's classified as a nice to have. It can be a nice to have feature, but you see the search is more of must have feature. So they can do without it. That's just it. They can do without it. So it's important that they work on the search feature first. Thank you very much, Adita Mullah, for that. So we go back. Now, that is just it. That is the idea, and that's the responsibility, one of the responsibilities of the program manager. So you let them know. You tell this same explanation that Damola has given. Speaking from our own perspective, she will just inform the engineers. Oh, guys, this is why I think. Not I think. You should. You don't have to be authoritative, but yeah, when you tell them to do this, they know this is what they are doing. This is why you should do this first, because this is a must have compared to this, which is a nice to have feature. We can do without the export button, but you see this search button we can't at the moment. We need to ensure that it's accurate. So this same explanation, you give it to them. So because they already know what's the reason behind this, they will quickly work on it, deliver, and after which they can now go back to their export button afterward. So it's very important that you explain that to them, that oh, this is needed within this time to this time. I need you to quickly do this, then later you can go back to your export button. So that's it. Then there is this that says set product direction and vision. Another thing is product managers in an agile environment set product direction and vision. You are the product CEO. You set the direction. This is what I'm looking at. This is my product roadmap. This is the product vision. Don't wait for a project manager to set your product direction for you. Do not wait for your boss or your CEO to set your product direction for you. In every agile environment, it is the sole responsibility of the product manager to set product directions and vision for the products. So you define where the product should be in the next 3 to 6 months, in the next 1 year, even after launch in the next 4 years. This is what you are looking at. So you set the direction. This is where you want this product to be. And you break that vision into clear, achievable milestone. Now your product vision, this is what you are looking at. This is where your product should be in the next 5 years. This is where your product, let's say 1 year. 5 years is too much. This is where your product should be in the next 1 year. Now, this is your product vision. Break it down. Do not use so much grammar. Break it down into clear. Let it be achievable. Let it use the smart approach. We all know what the smart approach is, correct, right? You know the acronym for SMART when we are setting our goals, correct? You can use the chat box. Then you can unmute to speak. Do we know what SMART is? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Martha. Yes, so that's when you are setting your goals. SMART is normally used when you set up your goals. So you can use this for your product vision as well. Allow this to be specific. Do not go and put a vision that is not you are not specific. You are running, how will I put it now? You are not specific. You want to do this, you want to do that. Have a specific goal. Like let it be specific. Let it be specific. Like someone was asking me, okay, I want to do this. When I checked everything, I'm like, I want to do so many things in like a short period of time. No. In product management, it doesn't work like that. Be specific. Year one, this is what you want to do and achieve. Year two, this is it. So you have to be specific. Then your goal, your product vision as well, has to be measurable. That's the end there. Okay, from so time to this time, you have to be able to measure. How do you measure success? Sorry, you measure. The aim is to measure. You measure your improvements. So you definitely use the smart approach when you are doing your product vision as well. So it has to be achievable. That's the A there. It has to be achievable. And that's what the slide is also telling us. Set product direction and vision. So your vision should be clear, it should be achievable. It has to be achievable. Do not go and put something that is not achievable. Imagine you want to achieve some, you yourself when you are listening to the product vision, you are even laughing because you know that this thing that I want to do, are you sure it's realistic, is achievable? To ensure that you have one engineer, like you are working with just one engineer and in 1 month you want to build like a full, you want to build like 10 features. You didn't want to kill the engineer. So you have to make sure that whatever vision you are having is achievable. Then of course the R, which is realistic, it has to be real. Don't go and be giving unrealistic, what's it called, data or vision. Then time, it has to be time bound as well. That's why I say from this month to this month, this is what I want to do. From this to this, the product should be here. So that's what a product manager does in an agile environment. Another one is you act as the voice of the customer and the business. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday as well. Act as the voice of the customer. You have to act as the voice of the customer. Your customers are not in your organization. Your customers are not the one building the products. You are the one building the products. Your customers are not the one interfacing with the engineers. You are the one interfacing with the engineers. So act as their voice. Be their spokesperson, and also be the business spokesperson. Be the business spokesperson to your user, that, oh, this is what the business does, we are here to satisfy you, we are customer centric organization. So you pitch this to your customers through the products that you render to them. So you communicate customer needs to leadership while ensuring product priorities align with business objectives. Yes, your product priorities have to align with the business objectives, and you have to remain coordinated across team. The objective has to be coordinated across the team, the operations team, business team, engineering team, like the product team, projects, everybody needs to be aligned. You also have to manage priorities. It's important that you manage priorities and measures impacts. So it includes prioritizing initiatives, tracking market and user needs, and measuring results to ensure that the product is delivering value. So you have to manage your priorities and measure the impacts of the ones that you have done, or you've released this product. What exactly is the impact? What are you getting? What feedback are you getting from customers? Is it even meeting the product vision? Is it meeting the customer needs? You have to track the market and also the user need. Okay, it seems in compliance with the market. Does it resonate with what is trending in the market? So you have to measure the results to ensure that your product is delivering value. It's only when you can answer all of these questions, that's when you can be like, oh, my product is delivering value. So until you are able to measure all of this, you'll not be able to know if your product is delivering value or not. You'll not be able to know. So it's very important that you measure all of this. So when you measure these, you are able to know that, oh, this is what is happening. So who uses agile product management? You may want to ask that, oh, who are those that uses agile product management? So it's used by technology companies and organizations across industries. In short, there's no one that cannot use it. But it's mostly used by technology companies, organizations across industries like finance, fintechs, health tech, healthcare industries as well, retail, consumer goods. So anyone can use it anyways. But all of these organizations mostly use it to deliver products faster and adapt quickly to customers' need. So, for instance, now in finance, a product manager may lead a team building a mobile feature that helps customers set track of their saving goals. So, you can build a product, okay, you want customers to be able to set their business goals. So, you build this. When you build this, you keep iterating. You keep iterating on what you've built, on what the feedback is. So any organization can use it though. Any organization can use it, but it's very important and most technology companies use it. I'm not sure people use waterfall again, but yeah, it's very important that technology companies use it because it helps them to quickly get customers feedback. Okay, so we'll move on. Any question before we move on? Any from anyone?
None from my end, ma.
Okay. So now, what are the advantages of Agile? What are the advantages of an Agile product management? The first one is flexible. Agile allows team to change direction quickly with new information, feedback, or market changes. So instead of waiting till the product is everything is fine, this helps you to keep iterating based on customers' feedback. So Agile is customer focused. Team build products based on real users' needs. So they build products based on the real user needs by using user stories and testing often. They keep testing often to ensure that customers' needs are satisfied. Then there's a fast delivery, there is a fast go-to-market time. That's one very good advantage. It helps you to faster launch your product to the market. Then you will now start improving over time. Another one is a strong teamwork. So it encourages regular communications through meetings like daily stand-ups and reviews, helping teams to work better and together. Like I said, if you are using Scrum, if you are using the Agile framework Scrum, you have daily stand-ups. Mondays to Fridays, you meet with your engineers to ask how far. They give updates. If there are any blockers they mention, you are able to take that out of the way, proceed. So it fosters more collaboration. So there is a strong teamwork. Imagine you know what, even if they wake you up from sleep, you know what your engineer is working on. you know where they are on the products, because you meet with them every day. You don't wait till maybe after 1 week and I'll not be asking for updates. No, you get your updates every day, daily, and there are reviews at least once in a week. So it helps the team to work better, that you guys are aligned, you guys are uh you collaborate better because you meet every day. So, and it encourages creativity. So it creates room for brainstorming. We talked about brainstorming in UCD yesterday as well. So now, like I said, that most times, because your engineers are aware that this is what you're looking at, this is what you tend to do, this is what you are building for. Now they can help you brainstorm. You guys can be on the call together. The stakeholders can come together. Oh, this is this. How do we do it? So you try new ideas. This happens almost all the time. Like when you have new things to do, new implementation, most times I'm lost. Like, oh, how do we go about this? How is the implementation going to look like? No problem. Fix a meeting. Let all the stakeholders involved come to the meeting. Then we start brainstorming. Okay, how about we look at it like this? Me as a product manager, I might be looking at, oh, I want this particular feature. This is how I want it to be implemented. But I'm not a developer. I don't know if there are edge cases. My developer can look at, this thing, if you implement this thing like this, there are going to be edge cases. Oh, have you thought about this edge case? Then we look at it together and like, oh, okay, that's true. Okay, if this is the case, why not use this instead? Why not do it like this? Does it work like this? How can we find a solution to this particular edge case? How can we undo it? So brainstorming, like it's a thing, I call it a thinking section though. So the brainstorming section for everyone on the team to look at is, okay, put yourself in the shoes of the users based on the market research we've done. Okay, how do we implement this back end wise, front end wise? How does the customers how do you think the customer will react to this? Okay, what are the edge cases involved? So you have to work together with your team to do this. It's very important that you brainstorm, you try new ideas. Most times you try things out like, oh, why not do it this way? When we try it, it doesn't work. Oh, we'll go and reverse it. Do another, try another thing. Oh, this is my idea. I think we should do it this way. We might do it this way, then later we'll look and say, no, 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 this is not what we want. We'll get another ideas, look for another way, implement it, then we're good to go. So we learn from our mistakes. Yes, in fact, we do this most of the time. We learn from our mistakes when we implement things or when we try new ideas and it doesn't work, or we lost we take to the users, then probably we get into we hit a bug or hit an issue. We learn from it. Most times, most times we might debug, we might be debugging, using as debugging, and at the end of the day, when we finally figure out why we were having that issue, like it might just be something very slight, like just something we don't expect, and we just smile and be like, oh, okay, next time we've learned that, oh, the last time we had this issue was this. If we had that issue again, in fact, we always try as much as possible not to have that kind of issue, because we already understand that it's because of this. So next time, even when we have that issue, the first thing we look at, okay, have we checked this? We've learned from our mistakes. As product managers, you will make mistakes. It's not like, yeah, because you are the CEO of the product does not mean you are the all-in-one, everything, what's it called, one heart fit all. No, you are not. You make mistakes, but you have to learn from your mistakes and improve through iteration. So when we do our mistakes, we release another build, we iterate what's it called? We iterate on the improvement, and before you know it, we get it right. We keep iterating. It's not important that you get it right at first. You have to keep iterating an agile environment. You have to keep iterating, keep iterating, keep iterating, and before you know it, everything will be fine. So that's why agile environment encourage creativities, encourage so much of creativity. So the team feels safe to experiment and innovate. Like the team is not afraid to try new ideas. We are not afraid to experiment. Like, why not try it this way? Hey, no, I don't want to fail. Oh, no. That kind of mindset doesn't work. That kind of mindset does not work at all when it comes to an agile environment. It doesn't work at all. So what we need to do is be open-minded. Even if you fail, know that you will learn from that mistake. You not make such mistake again. You keep iterating your improvements. So that's one thing about an agile environment. You have to iterate. You have to keep iterating on your improvements. Okay, so that's about this. Let's quickly look at the disadvantage before we go to our class activity for today. So disadvantages of agile, too many features. For in this life, I always say there is nothing. I don't know, but for me, I don't think there's anything in this life that has an advantage that does not have. Or has any other person? Does any other person know of anything in this life that has an advantage without a disadvantage? Anyone? Tell me something that has. Personally, yeah, yes, yes, yes. Of course, definitely. Hmm. That's true, Sha. The grace of God, oh yes, doesn't have any disadvantage. That's true. Except things from God. Let me just say that with things from God. Aside that, you see any other thing, too much of money has its own disadvantage. Oh. Do you agree with me? Money has its own disadvantage. Being poor has its own advantage and disadvantage too. So there's nothing except God, like anything from God. You say every other thing, there's usually disadvantage to it. So the same way like with peach and with like not like sugar coated anyway. With peach that agile is good, agile is this, agile also has its disadvantage. It also has its being a product manager also has a disadvantage. What do you think the disadvantage of a product manager is? Anyone? Being a product manager now, what's the disadvantage of being a product manager? Outside all of the perks. No one.
Ma, I want to try, but I don't think it exactly falls under like disadvantage.
Okay.
But as a product manager, you have to be ready to take risk and to take some certain decisions that might not sit well with some people. But as long as that decision is it, and decisions that at the end of the day they might not like, should I use the word like, but like risk bearer, but I don't know if it is like a disadvantage.
Yeah, you have. In fact, life is risks itself. Life is risks, yes. So you have to take risks, but always when you are taking risks, ensure you take calculated risks. Yes, you have to take risks because it's also a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage because if you take a risk now, you after your market research, you end up building using your agile framework. You use your UCD. Everything is fine. What if customers do not adopt the product? And what if government policy comes to place? Like for instance, I'm building a fintech app to for cash pickup, and in Nigeria they've banned cash pickup. That's a risk. That's like building the app. In fact, at the start of every application step, it's a risk. Like you are building it. What if? So it's definitely a risk. Anything can happen. This life is a risk. We are only everybody ceiling fan. Then I used to tell people, I said everything is risky. We that we are turning on ceiling fan is a risk. What if the ceiling fan removes? Or like even some persons will be like, hey, they want to because they want to avoid road accidents. They don't want to go out or they want to be walking. They don't want to enter transportations or rather use their leg. You can be in your house and still have accidents. So it is risk. Like it's just risk. This life, everything is risk. Everything in this life is just risk. Yeah, that is it. That makes sense too, Sha. The success or failure of a product often falls on a product manager. I feel like it can be stressful. Yes, so if your products fail, your boss will like yes now. If your products fail, your boss can anything can happen. Anything can happen. So if you think your product will succeed and it fails, it is a problem. Also, it's a disadvantage. At the end of the day, the thing now fail. Management will be angry with you. It's not like it's you are the CEO of the product, so it has failed, it has failed. So it's also a disadvantage. The pressure will be much. Everybody's pointing fingers at you. Does this app even have a product manager? But when app is working fine, nobody will remember that ah there is a product manager somewhere. How many of us even think of WhatsApp product manager? Everything is working. It's only when there is issue now. And these products will have a product manager like that too. But when everything is working fine, nobody will remember that there's something called product manager. Yeah, thank you, Luatufumi, for that. Another person. Another person. Okay. We're saying you don't know what the disadvantage of a product manager is, right?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, that's what I can.
Yeah, so sometimes product manager we have to work with a lot of people, different kind of people with different personalities, and it might be challenging sometimes. But I feel it's one of the disadvantages of being a product manager.
That's true. Yes, because you have to work with a lot of people rather than just being if you're a client support for instance now you just deal with your customers inquiry but product manager there's nothing that concerns you with the product manager well even if you're a customer service there's nothing that really concerns you with the product manager it's the product manager that has to even engage you your own focus is on the customers your KPI is the customer, but as a product manager, you work cross-functional. So it's very stressful. So it's also a disadvantage. And yeah, it's also a disadvantage. And that one is your work does not finish. A project manager work finish. As a product manager, you continue. Even when your product is launched, you can say, hey, let me go and relax. From where you still have to continue iterating. Yeah, Chika someone, yeah. Managing people's emotion too, yes, because you don't even know people we are all from different background. Imagine having to manage different it's not in fact human beings are the most difficult of things to handle, like to manage. You cannot satisfy humans. Our wants are insatiable. And you cannot even you in fact I can't say how gentle, how good you are, you will still offend somebody there will still be one person out of everybody that will stress you. So managing people, and that is your work as a product manager. Managing people can be very stressful and frustrating. It can be frustrating too. So you have to manage their emotions, put your own problems aside, manage them, ensure that everybody is working towards the product goal and business goal. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So the high pressure and stress, it's really a lot. Then time management as well. That's another cons when it comes to product management. Time management. You have to manage time. You do the work of a project manager, you do work of a product manager, because you have to manage time. Your product roadmap is saying 1 year, you have to work towards that. In that 1 year you are able to achieve your goal, so you are working with time, tight time schedules. You are trying to also carry this person along as you are doing that. In fact, it's really a lot, yes. And conflict resolution and difficult negotiation is another thing. Like your engineers will fight, front end did not want to agree with back end, QA did not want to agree with back end. Everybody is like, no, this is how it should be. You have to also have that. So dispute resolution is another thing. So yeah. So and also sometimes you can have resources constraints. Management do not want to give you the resources, they want you to deliver within a shortest period of time. How do you go about it? You just have very small development team, a lean team. How do you proceed to? So it's really 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 a lot. So you also have to think of how you want to manage management expectation. You have to think of it. So you have a lot of responsibility and it's overwhelming, especially when the product now fail. It's another problem. It's really, really another problem. So and you also need to look for how to balance your business needs. That's how to balance your own user need with the business needs. This is what user needs. This is what business objective is. You have to ensure that it's in alignment. Is another problem. Is another problem. So it's a lot. So everything in this life except the grace of God, except things that come from God, all good things are sent from the Lord. Except for that, every other thing has its own disadvantage regardless. So yeah, too many futures. That's the first one. You have a lot of future. As they are doing this, you have created this new feature today. Tomorrow, customer want this. You are adding features. You're adding features, adding more, because it's an agile environment, so it allows for changes. It's not rigid that is A I want to do and is A I will do. So you keep adding, which can delay delivery if not well managed. So if you did not manage all of these things well, it will delay delivery, because the engineering team will tell you they are working on this new feature, they are working on this now, tomorrow it will delay delivery. So another thing is hard to predict timelines and costs. So it's very hard for you to really predict when you'll be done with everything, because you are working on iteration. So it's work are done in smaller piece and changes are often. So it can be very difficult for you to say, this is the exact delivery date or the total costs that will be spent on this, especially if you are working with a contract engineer. You cannot say, for this contract to this particular job is going to take me 3 months to finish. Your engineering team can even predict that it will take me 3 months, except if you want them to work on all the features, use a waterfall approach. But if they're using agile approach, they cannot really forecast when the expected delivery dates will be. So the ETA cannot be managed, like it cannot be delivered. This the cost, you cannot say this is how much I will spend, because requirements will keep changing. If you hire a developer for a 3 month contract to work on a particular feature or a particular application or product, but requirements keep changing because it's an agile environment, you have to pay extra, because you will not know when the person is going to finish, cost to start setting in, operational costs to come in, other engineering team. So you cannot even say that this is how much it will cost me to work on this if you are using an agile product management approach. So it's also difficult to manage large organizations. So Agile works best with small team. Using it across many teams or departments can be challenging without proper structure. So if an organization does not really have structure and it's a large organization, it's very difficult to really manage that because this is you breaking down work into piece. And you have so many departments, so many teams. How do you even coordinate that? So agile works best for startups, for small teams, when you have the small team, not when you have like about 100, when you have a group of developers, your QA team are like 20, like you're working on so many products. It's very, very difficult to use agile product management approach. So yeah, I think this is where we'll be stopping today. Tomorrow we'll continue. But yeah, we still have 3 more minutes to go and see them. People want to go. Are we tired? Alright, so let's just take feedback sections. What our take home for today's section is tomorrow we'll complete the class on Agile Product Management. Yeah, we'll complete the class tomorrow on Agile Product Management. So let's just quickly hear what our take home is, what stood out for us, what we've been able to learn all through for today's section. Let's start with our schedule.
My take home, ma.
Yes, please.
Yes, my take home, ma, is about the fact that we can use this agile to, I don't know if I pronounce it well, like part of the tools to help a product manager make his or her work easy. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You can use an agile tool to make work of a program manager easy. Make it easy by breaking down works into smaller pieces. Okay. All right, Mata.
Good morning, ma.
Morning, Mata.
Okay, first of all, I want to appreciate you for the lecture. I won't call it a lecture because you're actually teaching and it's flowing very well. So I want to say thank you. In as much as I've been distracted with work trying to follow up, but with the way you take it step by step, at least I'm catching up something. So I want to say thank you. Okay, so my take home is as a product manager, you need to inculcate the acronym SMART. So whatever you are doing, whatever project you're undertaking, you must ensure that it meets users' need and it's not vague. You must be specific on what you want. You also define the problem and it must be time bound too. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mata. I appreciate. Thank you. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you once again. Oh, Atafumi.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma. I would say my take home is like as a product manager, I realized that agile product management is not just like a methodology, but I feel it's more like a strategic approach. Yeah, that ensures more like we should focus on delivering values to users and the business while still staying adaptable to change. Also, I learned that the role of a product manager in Agile goes far beyond managing tasks. More as if like a product manager identifies real users and business problems
prioritize solutions and deliver the highest impact. Yeah, that's all from it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Oluwata, for me. Thanks so much. Chika, can we have you?
Hello, ma. My take home is the functions of project manager. That one thing I learned today is that product manager see the voice is the voice of the customer. That means whatever the customer feedback is, product manager is the one that will act as the link between the company and the customer in case in the aspect of the product itself. So the functions the usage of the product is a product manager. I also learned that product manager foresees vision before the product manifests. They create the roadmaps, they through agile or other name, and they make the product come to life. Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you. Thank you. The environment was very
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
I think we're okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we'll continue from where we stopped. So it's been a nice time having you all on the call. Let's meet tomorrow. So we'll finish this. We'll attempt our class activity and assignment tomorrow as well. So do anybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Ma. You're the best.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, ma.
Welcome.